Texas Matt here, and we are already in the second month of 2023. Before we know it, winter will be over and we'll be easing into spring and summer. But not yet. You know why? Because that damn groundhog saw his shadow again. So we get 3 more weeks of winter, and all you truckers out there have 6 more weeks of winter driving to deal with. Now, I'm not sure if that groundhog knows what he's talking about, but then again, what meteorologist does? Anyways, this month we are talking about the muskrat and EVs again, the FMCSA revoking ELDs, a record increase in DOT fines, and the hacking of the FMCSA portal. Also, CNS will be attending MATS at the end of March. Now that's not Texas MAT, it's the MATS, or Mid-America Trucking Show in Kentucky. If you're going, please stop by our booth in the West Wing. We'll have lots of cool giveaways, and it would be great to chat with some of our viewers. As always, you can get more information by filling out the form or clicking the links in the description below. All right, let's get going. So, if you remember from last month, we talked a lot about the electric semis being produced by none other than the master of electricity himself, Elon Musk. And we also touched on an EV emission reduction initiative in Pennsylvania. Well, this month, we saw the recent developments in Nevada for the Tesla Gigafactory. Back in 2014, Tesla made a commitment to invest $3.5 billion in this new facility with a goal of producing 35 gigawatt hours annually, or enough to manufacture about 500,000 vehicles per year. This was achieved with just half their factory site. So on January 24th, they have announced the expansion of the site to include high volume production of the Tesla Semi. Now, I know not everyone is on the same page with the electric semis, but get ready because they're on their way whether we like it or not. You can get a lot more details on this topic in our In the Loop with Luke segment. Just click on the link above to check it out. You smell that? Yeah, me too. It smells like something's burning. Oh, I know what it is. It's the FMCSA burning a hole in your pocket with all those fines. As you know, it's never a good time to get a DOT fine. But that's even more true right now. The FMCSA has just increased the maximum fines by nearly 8% for 2023, which is one of the biggest increases ever. And that is in addition to last year's 6% increase. Only new fines in 2023 will be affected, so if the DOT is already actively working through a previously enforced penalty on your company, you wouldn't see this 8% increase. Let's quickly recap the most common violations from 2022. They include hours of service violations, drug testing, vehicle maintenance, and falsifying driving logs. As we have mentioned in other videos, multiple DOT violations will cause long-term damage to your company, so it's very important to maintain a clean record. Repeat violations will negatively affect your SAFER scores and identify you as a high-risk motor carrier. We have a lot of information published on SAFER and CSA scores, but if you're worried about being lumped in with these high-risk drivers and fleets, reach out to us. Our compliance team at CNS can help with risk mitigation and improving your scores, and our CNS insurance team can help you shop for a high-risk policy. You smell that? Yeah, me neither. If you need help, just fill out the form in the description below. We'll help stop that burn. Okay. Next, we're going to touch on the most influential African Americans that impacted the trucking industry, because it's February, Black History Month. First, we have Frederick McKinley Jones, who patented the mechanical transport refrigeration units, or as we call them today, the reefer unit. Without him, we'd get a lot of warm fruits and moldy vegetables. Did you ever pull up to a stoplight at an intersection and look up at the red, amber, and green lights that hang down to tell you when to stop, slow down, and go? Well, you can thank Garrett Morgan for that. He's the inventor of the stoplight. Although a stoplight with green and red existed at the time of his invention, his design was the first to feature a middle light to warn the drivers to slow down. Pretty neat, huh? Well, we can't seem to get through a newsletter without talking about our good friends, the freight forwarders and the freight brokers. The FMCSA previously implemented the MAP 21 requirement to increase the financial security amount for brokers and established financial security requirements for freight forwarders. Now, the FMCSA is proposing changes to the broker and freight forwarder financial responsibility. The proposal suggests modifying 5 regulatory areas, including assets readily available, immediate suspension of broker or freight forwarder operating authority, surety or trust responsibilities in cases of broker or freight forwarder financial failure or insolvency, enforcement authority, and the entities eligible to provide trust funds for Form BMC 85 trust fund filings. We go into the details on those 5 regulatory changes in the full article, which you can find in the link below. So why should motor carriers care about this? Well, big surprise here, not everyone is honest. Some brokers with dishonest business practices can create unnecessary financial hardships for unsuspecting motor carriers. Basically, a dishonest broker will withhold payment to motor carriers, which leads to the motor carrier submitting a claim to receive payment. If the claim exceeds $75,000, the financial responsibility provider will often submit the claim to a court to determine how to allocate the broker bond or trust fund. This is a very time-consuming and costly process for motor carriers. The FMCSA is looking for feedback from y'all on whether you think the brokers should be required to have a higher amount of financial responsibility. So be sure to give them your feedback. In the meantime, you can let us know what you think in the comments below or get a complete broker insurance quote today. Just fill out the form below or give us a call at 1-800-724-5523. Since it's February and we're talking about our little buddy Punxsutawney Phil, do you ever feel like you're living the same day over and over, the same month over and over, the same year over and over? Well, I do. Because it seems like we're always talking about the same thing. Yep, the CVSA announced their International Roadcheck again. It's being held in May again. Well, I guess this year it's a little different. It'll be held on May 16th through May 18th. Much different from last year's, which was May 17th through 19th. Quick side note, is Roadcheck even a real word? No, it's not. It's Roadcheck, not Roadcheck. Even hyphenating it would make more sense than making up a word. Just something to think about. All jokes aside, this is something serious that unfortunately needs to happen once a year. Last year's Roadcheck reminded 12,456 of you that safety is important. Each year, the CVSA even throws you a bone and tells you the focus. Last year, the focus was on wheel ends, but they haven't released this year's focus just yet. But you can be sure that CNS will be shouting it from the rooftops as soon as it's announced, so keep your eyes and your ears open. Also, just a quick reminder about the 2 other CVSA blitzes coming up this year. Operation Safe Driver Week will be July 9th through the 15th, and Brake Safety Week will be August 20th through the 26th. All right, let's see what I can do here. I'm gonna have to get into the mainframe here, debug the data structure, and deploy a completely different framework. Okay, I think I'm done here. All right, I'll have to have Devin check my work, but I think we're safe again. In case you didn't know, I was just securing the FMCSA portal, which was hacked by a pro-Russian hacker group known by the name of Killnets. Now, the FMCSA says none of their internal systems were compromised, but is suggesting that anyone who uses the portal change their passwords immediately. It's a good thing you don't use the same password for every single site, right? Right. All right, this one is a little spicy and might put some of you in a hot mama kind of a pickle. The FMCSA has been removing many ELD devices from the registered devices list. Most recently, it has been TMS1's ELD1, Nationwide Technologies Nationwide ELD, and the OnePlus ELD. Now that is a dilly of a pickle. Typically, this happens because the ELD fails to meet the minimum requirements set by the FMCSA. The ELD provider does have the opportunity to correct the deficiencies to be placed back on the list, but CNS and the FMCSA both recommend finding a new ELD provider. Yeah, that's good. Carriers have 60 days to make a switch, at which point they would have to revert to paper logs. And who wants to do that? If you don't take one of the 2 steps above, you could be hit with a no record of duty status and be placed out of service. CNS does offer options and recommendations for ELDs as well as ELD management. We've done a lot of research and found out that our partner Pedigree Technologies offers the most cost-effective and efficient product on the market. And they give you a free pickle with every ELD. If you have questions, feel free to call us or just fill out the form in the description below. Man, this is good. Well, it's not really February, the month of love, unless we're talking about drug tests and urine with our loved ones. Tastes like chicken. Yep, that's right. That's why the DOT is always randomly asking for urine from workers regulated by the FMCSA, FAA, FRA, FTA, and PHMSA. They just love everyone so much they are constantly monitoring the rate of positive test results in all of these agencies and increasing or decreasing the random testing rate for them based on the results. For example, the PHMSA, or Pipeline and Hazardous Materials Safety Administration, has had less than a 1% positive test rate for random drug tests for 3 years in a row. As a result, the DOT has dropped their quarterly drug testing pool from 50% to 25%. Now, will this ever change for the FMCSA? It could, but in 2020, it increased from 25 to 50% because they went over the 1% positive for random drug tests. If the positive rates remain below 1% for 3 consecutive years, the random testing rate will drop back down to 25%. At this point, the earliest the FMCSA could see the testing pool dropping is 2025. If you are regulated by any of these agencies and need help maintaining a drug and alcohol-free workplace, our Occupational Healthcare Division offers a comprehensive drug and alcohol consortium service. We are a certified consortium and third-party administrator, and we also offer an online DOT and non-DOT drug and alcohol supervisor training. You know where to find us. That's all I have for you this month. Stay safe on the roads out there. We still have a lot more winter. Have a great Valentine's Day. And if you're going to Matt's, we will see you there. If you have questions, feel free to reach out by phone, email, or the forms below, and we'll help you figure out the next steps in your compliance journey. See you next time. Texas Matt, out.